Texans fans, we are almost to 4,000 subscribers. The more subs we get, the more content you get. So if you want more Houston Texans videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. H-Town, hold it down. I am Will Scott. You're watching Texans Today by Chat Sports. We're going to talk about a free agent target on today's show. And on that last mailbag, I kind of hinted at the fact we might talk about Dalton Risner as a potential target here for the Texans in free agency. We'll break down if the former Denver Bronco makes sense. Mike Klis said this about Dalton Risner. Mike Klis covers the Broncos. The Denver Broncos starting left guard for the previous 4 years, Risner, has, quote, 7 teams that have serious interest in signing him, a source told 9 News. The source said Risner is considering and willing to wait for the best fit. Is that best fit in Houston? We'll have to wait and see, but I would be a little bit surprised if the Texans were not one of the 7 teams that have at least inquired about Dalton Risner, who put up these numbers in 2022. Now, that run grade, not good, but the pass blocking grade was good from Dalton Risner. I'd rather have a guy, and obviously it's ideal if you can get a guy that's a good run blocker and pass blocker. But when you're talking about protecting C.J. Stroud, your rookie quarterback, I think Risner might be a good fit at left guard. If Kenyon Green is not ready to go by training camp, we'll talk about him later on. Now, do you want the Texans to sign Dalton Risner? Type S for sign or type P for pass. Down in the comments section. Go down in the comments and let me know. I would say sign, but it depends on Kenyon Green because the Texans guard underwent a knee procedure in March. D'Amico Ryans, when asked in his last press conference, did not confirm if Green will be ready by training camp. That's why I am bringing up Dalton Risner on today's show. He was the 15th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Had a 37.7 PFF grade in his rookie season. But again, it was his rookie year. He had a concussion before the season. I think it was tough for him to bounce back after that. So we all know Kenyon Green can be a lot better than he was last season. Now, if Kenyon Green is not ready by training camp, which again, D'Amico Ryans did not commit to him being ready by then, you got to have a plan B, right? You can't go into the season without having a left guard you feel pretty good about. Right now, Michael Dieter is your backup left guard who was a center with the Miami Dolphins. He played guard his rookie year a few years ago. Didn't go very well. He was a better center than he was a guard. So I do not feel comfortable with Dieter or really anyone outside of Green on this roster right now being the starting left guard going into week 1, which is why Risner might make some sense. Now, let's say Kenyon Green is not ready by training camp, but he's going to be ready by the season. Signing a guy like Dalton Risner probably does not make sense if you want Kenyon Green to be the long-term answer at that position. So maybe you sign a backup guard, Trai Turner, Michael Schofield, Gabe Jackson, A.J. Cann. All those guys have starting experience. Obviously, A.J. Cann, we saw him in Houston. He's a decent player. Maybe you bring him back. Say you'll have a chance to compete for the job. And then if Kenyon Green isn't ready, he will be the starting left guard. So those are a few of the top free agent guards still available in free agency. Slim pickings at this point, man. There's just not a whole lot of good options available outside of Dalton Risner. I do like Cann. I do like Jackson. Those are my top 5 guys right now at the guard position. Taking a look at the current offensive line depth chart, Kenyon Green right now is your starting left guard. We're not sure if he's going to be ready. And look, I think he's going to be ready by the season. But I've also seen some situations around the league where a guy's supposed to be ready by week 1 and he's not ready at all at any point during the season. So that is my concern is like, okay, if you go into the season with Michael Dieter, your left guard, Dalton Risner signed, A.J. Cann signed, Gabe Jackson signed, C.J. Stroud's going to be in trouble. You want to make sure that he's protected. That's no disrespect to Michael Dieter. It's just that Dieter has more experience playing center in his professional football career than guard. And right now, he is your backup left guard. Maybe Jared Patterson or Juice Scruggs could slide that position. I'm not sure. But hopefully, if all goes according to plan, if Kenyon Green's healthy, your starting 5 on the offensive line will be Laramie Tunsil, Kenyon Green, Juice Scruggs, Shaq Mason, and Titus Howard. 4th of July is a week away. It's one of my favorite holidays of the entire year. You can celebrate by getting your Texans 4th of July shirts at chatsports.com/Texans4th. Go get that deal right now. Shirts available right now at that link, chatsports.com/Texans4th. I might be going down to Lake Conroe over in the Houston area for the 4th of July. I'm excited about that. Back to the 713, hopefully, for the 4th. I know some of y'all might be going to Galveston, maybe South Padre, be repping the Texans on the 4th. Chatsports.com/Texans4th. Is a big year ahead for Derek Stingley. We've talked about him as a potential breakout candidate here for the Texans, and ESPN thinks the same, that he could break out this year. Here is what they said about the soon-to-be second-year cornerback. Stingley, the number 3 overall pick in last year's draft, looks physically improved compared to his rookie year. His ability has jumped out consistently throughout the spring. He was drafted 1 spot ahead of the eventual Defensive Rookie of the Year, Sauce Gardner, who was also first-team All-Pro. The comparison between the two won't stop. ESPN's right to say that. But if this momentum continues for Stingley, he can have a big year. Right now, he's CB1 for Houston. You got Steven Nelson. He's an extension candidate. We've talked about the possibility of locking him up for the next couple of years. He's CB2. You got Desmond King. You got Shaquille Griffin, who you signed. But when you're talking about Derek Stingley, I have very high hopes for Derek Stingley. Look at the 2 touchdowns he gave up in week 1. He didn't give up a touchdown the rest of the season, so we know he can be good. He just played 9 games last year. If he can stay fully healthy, he can stay on the field next year. Derek Stingley can be an all-pro player in DeMeco Ryan's system. I have no question about that. We saw the talent at LSU. He was an unbelievable player at LSU. Was well-deserved. You're talking about being the number 3 overall pick. I think he's going to turn out to be a really good NFL player. Show Derek Stingley some love. Type 24 down in the comment section for our guy Derek Stingley. Type 24. Show some love to Derek Stingley. John Metchie also mentioned as a name to watch. Here, Bleacher Report was talking about some draft picks in 2022 that may be forgotten to watch at training camp, and John Metchie was on their list. Here's what they said about Metchie, who is about to make his NFL debut. The Houston Texans have yet to get a real look at 2022 second-round pick John Metchie III. The former Alabama star suffered a torn ACL in the SEC championship game and then sat out his rookie year after being diagnosed with leukemia. Metchie has the potential to be the biggest difference maker in Houston's receiving core, though his ability to do so hinges on his health and his development more than 2 years after he last saw the playing field. I'm really excited to watch John Metchie, man. I mean, this guy's been through so much, and he's just worked tirelessly to get back on the field, so I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think he's going to be really, really good and could have a huge impact in this Texans offense. I expect him to be one of the top 3 wide receivers on this team, and the Texans have a lot of depth at this position. This might be the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. It's not really being talked about. But you look at those top 6 guys. Nico Collins, who's wide receiver 1 now after the Brandon Cooks trade. He's going to go off. Robert Woods, who really needed a fresh start, was not utilized properly in Tennessee. John Metchie, soon to make his NFL debut. Noah Brown had a breakout season in Dallas last year. And then Tank Dell, absolute steal in the draft. Xavier Hutchinson, 6th-round pick, All-American in Iowa State. He's a steal. This Texans wide receiver room is really, really good. And John Metchie, could he be a guy, maybe a dark horse, to be wide receiver 1 in this offense? I'll tell you what, C.J. Stroud really going to love John Metchie III as a target. The guy can go up and get the football. Just look at those numbers at Alabama. Did want to let y'all know this is my last week working here at Chat Sports and my last week as the host of Texans Today. I've made the decision to go back to school and get my master's in sports law. I just want to thank you all for your support of the channel. It's been so much fun covering my hometown team. Some of y'all may not know this, but I was born and raised in Sugar Land, grew up loving the Texans, man. So this has been a lot of fun to cover my guys. So thank you all for your amazing support. It's been a lot of fun to be able to relaunch this Texans channel. That was a big goal of mine when I started here over a year and a half ago, was to get a Texans channel back up and running, and we've done that successfully. I'm still going to be rooting for the Texans. Make no mistake about that. I'm really excited to see what D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud can do in their first years in Houston. It feels like the Texans organization, for the first time in a long time, really trending in the right direction. We're still going to be getting you guys content here. Not sure who my replacement's going to be, but I'm sure Chat Sports will let you guys know soon. I'm not done yet, though. Still got a couple more videos for you guys later this week, but thank you all.